Hello everybody, my name is Ampere Beep, and welcome back. Today we are going to be spending a lot of time on what happens after the year 2030. What comes after Merced-Bakersfield is open? I'm going to split this topic into several different videos, with today's video just being on the initial high-speed rail segments. Phase 2 will be coming at a later date, as well as things like Brightline West and the future service expansions that I have not mentioned previously. So buckle up, we have a long ride ahead of us. Thank you everybody for joining our Discord. We've had some great discussions over there. Feel free to join. The link is in the description below. Thank you everybody for your topic suggestions you posted in the last few videos. I will make sure to get through those in the future. But I do have a few topics that I would like to get through first that will provide you guys with context for future things I'll be talking about. I would like to quickly thank Denelin and Zephyr Silver in the Discord server for the background footage they provided for today's intro. Now with that out of the way, let's get started with the latest Sentinel-2 updates. So there's new imagery coming out today, Friday the 13th of October 2023, probably around 9 p.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, that's going to be after when this video goes live and well after I record it. So next video should have some significant changes visible. Let's get started in CP4. Not much has changed as expected, since we are very close to the completion of this section. As you can see here, not much has changed between the left date, which is September 28th, and on the right is October 8th. So you can see right here, this canal has not finished being relocated. It looks like they're still waiting on something. Maybe the harvest season is not yet over, and they couldn't get permission to close it. What has changed, however, is this north-south canal over here, near the northern corner of CP4. You can see that it has been drained, there's no water left in it, and they seem to be filling in the dirt where the former canal was. That's great news, because that means this canal is going to be done relatively quickly. The only thing we're going to be waiting on is a canal culvert right here, but other than that, that should be it for CP4. Here at the Deer Creek Viaduct, some work is ongoing. Minor right-of-way clearing is underway. Right here, south of Angiola, you can see that the land is slowly being cleared out, which is good news. This is one of the large sections that has not been finished yet. And now we move north to this farm. You can see that the right-of-way has been cleared. And we move north a little bit, and you can see Tule River Viaduct and Pergola making some good progress. You can see that quite a few of these precast concrete beams have been put in place, and they seem to be about a third of the way done or a quarter of the way done, which is good news. They should be done with this by the end of the year, I'd expect. Moving north to the northern SR-43 overcrossing, you can see that previously there was this land being cleared for what I believe is the future roadbed when the bridges are under construction to cross the right-of-way. And as of now, it looks like what was being done previously was spraying it down with water, likely to keep dust down, and now that water is dried, but the right-of-way for the road is still somewhat visible, which means that they are starting work here to some degree. You can also see that a little bit of stuff has been put down on the east side of the road. Other than that, not much is going on there. And now we get to some of the significant changes that happen. Now, previously, this is what the Hanford Viaduct looked like, and you can see most of the concrete deck is poured up to about here, and they're putting in rebar on the southern section. A few girders have been placed south of the San Joaquin Valley Railroad, and no girders have been placed south of State Route 198. Well, good news everyone. As of the 8th, I believe we counted it as being 10 rows of precast girders have been installed here. So now everything from this point south is now finished, at least in terms of girder installation, which is good news. Stuff is rapidly speeding up. Another thing that has just happened is some nighttime closure work on State Route 198. Now, as you can see here, work will include the installation of a K-rail, which is those temporary concrete guardrails, and they are shifting traffic slightly, which is what I had marked down a couple months ago on OpenStreetMap. And as you can see, the old alignment is this gray dashed line, and the current alignment is now what the orange line is. I believe that's only a temporary thing, though. They might have returned it to the original alignment because the design has changed since 2020. Recent documents show that the original SR-198 alignment will stay, with only some slight modifications. We can move further north here. You can see that some work is being done on this section of the deck, but nothing else can be seen there. More land clearing is underway at the Dutch John Cut. You can see that right about here, that some of the land has been cleared to some degree as the water levels lower later on in the year. Some land clearing is in progress around the State Route 43 Tight Arch Bridge, as well as some minor embankment work, as you can see here on the right side. It seems like it's just finishing up on that, and we should be seeing them start working on the deck or concrete girders fairly soon. But we'll have to wait and see. Moving significantly further forward into northern Fresno, here's Shaw Avenue, and as you can see, some land has been cleared to the east of Cornelia Avenue, which is this north-south road here, and preparations for the Shaw Avenue grade separation should be underway right now. I believe the authority said that this grade separation will start in 2024, so we should start seeing some work done on that soon. Moving a little bit further north, further right-of-way work is being prepared. Right here where Golden State Boulevard meets Barstow Avenue. On the right is the new imagery. It looks like they're about to pave this, which is great news. And right here, crossing this industrial lot, you can see that they've cleared some more land. It looks like they should be paving this fairly soon as well. Online sources seem to lead me to believe that Veterans Boulevard interchange will be opened around the middle of November. Google seems to be convinced that it's going to be sometime between November 13th and November 16th, so we will have to see about that. We are not far out from this being finished, which is good news. With the completion of Veterans Boulevard, we should see Herndon Avenue closed to traffic across the railroad tracks and the roadway being relocated. They can't start that yet, as this is the only highway exit for a long distance, but once Veterans Boulevard is open, that will no longer be the case, and they can continue as previously. Some good news for Avenue 9. You can see that the concrete deck is now poured, and it looks like it's hardening right now. I would say give it till the end of this month, and then progress should continue after that. Now we're up in the Madeira area. You can see that just north of the Fresno River Viaduct, some land clearing is underway for the right-of-way. It looks like they are doing some ongoing work with A, land clearing, and B, right-of-way preparation. Moving further north, here at Avenue 17, some minor work is underway, but it seems to be mainly utility relocations in preparation for the grade separation. Even further north, you can see a little bit of work has been done here to clear the right-of-way, just north of Road 27, as well as a little bit of land clearing work here around Road 26, right up to Avenue 19. That's it for the Sentinel-2 update. Now let's move on to today's video topic. What comes next? What are we going to be building after Merced-Bakersfield is completed? Now, I'm going to work off the assumption that the state government's going to do nothing and neither is the federal government to fund the project, which is unfortunate, but probably realistic. Now, 2030 is the year that the initial operating segment from Merced to Bakersfield will be opened. And at that point, we will have, obviously, Merced to Bakersfield high-speed rail. Of course, that is not the final goal of the project. They will continue working on the future segments, but that's entirely contingent on future funding. Anyone traveling to the Bay Area will have to take either ACE, a bus, or Amtrak, all of which are fairly slow and have very low capacities. And anyone trying to go into the LA area needs to take a bus, as there are no trains. Now, the authority has chosen to go to San Francisco first, and this is for one principal reason. The cost is significantly lower. Now, I'm currently on the 2023 project update report, and you can see that the high cost estimate for everything, every single section needed, so the Central Valley Y balance, which is the other portion of the Central Valley Y. So in 2030, what will be built is only the eastern side of the Y, not the southern or western side. So this next section right here, the Central Valley Y balance, will cover the cost to build the south to west leg and the west to east leg, as well as the track from CP Merced, which is the western Y switch, all the way up to Carlucci Road. And the high-end cost estimate for that is $2.6 billion, and the low end is $1.84 billion. Now, it's a little bit expensive, but there's a reason for that. Since they are building along State Route 152, they have to grade separate not just themselves, but also State Route 152 and turn it into a divided highway. Currently, State Route 152 is a 4-lane at-grade highway with at-grade crossings where you make a left turn and cross oncoming traffic. The High-Speed Rail Authority is going to be helping upgrade this to full highway standards at the same time, as well as modifying some existing interchanges, like the State Route 152 and the State Route 59 interchange, which will need to be changed a bit to be able to allow high-speed rail to fly through. Now, I have a map for everything from Carlucci Road west and north, but I do not have a map of Carlucci Road to the Y. That is in an environmental document, and it's not as easy to see as this. Now, we can move on to Gilroy to Carlucci Road. So this is going to be the most expensive segment by far, and that's because they have to build a long tunnel. I believe the combination is of a 1 and 10 mile tunnel, and this tunnel will be the longest on the system, now that the alignment has been chosen for Palmdale to Burbank. Although it is the longest tunnel, it's not actually the most expensive segment. The low estimate's $10.3 billion, and the high estimate is $16.7 billion. Now, because this construction is probably not going to be taking place for about a decade from now, we're probably going to be looking at the high estimate in cost. Keep in mind, though, that the high estimate here is not the equivalent of today's dollars. I would say it's probably closer to the base estimate in dollars. So we're going to be seeing something like this. And good news is the High-Speed Rail Authority does have a map for this, and it's actually fairly comprehensive, including the land parcels that are going to be affected by construction. Now you can see here, we're going to be seeing some grade separations, specifically Carlucci Road and Turner Island Road. There's going to be a maintenance of way facility here, and this is where the weird tunnel bridge is going to happen. The only reason why they had to do this is because of environmental protection laws. They were basically forced into doing it. Now, I think it's a little ridiculous to have a tunnel on a bridge, but if it's the only way that the project could be built, I'd say it's probably not the worst, especially since the tunnel is not going to be made out of concrete, it's just going to be made out of metal sheets. We move forward, we can see more grade separations and road relocations, and here we start to see the railroad right-of-way move northward. Henry Miller Avenue will be rerouted slightly north and then cross over a bridge onto the south side, and it will continue north until it reaches the other side of the California Aqueduct. Right here is Interstate 5, and you can see these giant sections of blue area, which is the railroad right-of-way, is where they're going to have to cut through the mountain. Now, this may seem expensive, and of course it's going to be expensive, but what that allows you to do is it allows you to A, save costs on tunneling, because tunneling is even more expensive, and B, it gives you dirt embankment to use as fills to give you these large embankments you see here. And then, as you get to the west of Romero Creek, the trains will go into a tunnel. This is going to be the eastern portal, and they will cross through here and roughly follow the route of State Route 152 until they reach the western portal here. Then the trains will continue on a bridge. This section of hill will be slightly modified along with these, and then a large section of adjustments will be made here. It continues over here on a viaduct until it reaches the eastern portal of the shorter 1 mile long tunnel, which will continue here and will exit on the east side of State Route 152. Then it will continue on a series of bridges and embankments until it turns right and northward and then crosses the Union Pacific right-of-way. There will be a light maintenance facility or a maintenance of way facility. They have not fully determined what they're going to build yet until you reach here at Gilroy Station. From here on north, the tracks will follow the existing right-of-way as Alternative 4 was chosen, which means that only slight modifications will be done to the existing tracks and a few grade separations. There will not be a ridiculous 100-mile-long viaduct through the Bay Area, which I'm honestly kind of glad about because that would have been a significant waste of money, especially for the initial section of the project. It definitely would have saved time, and in my calculations, around 20 minutes. But since the project is still estimated to run under 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is the legal requirement, they should be fine. It continues north, following the right-of-way, until it reaches San Jose Diridon Station. San Jose Diridon Station is actually going to have quite a few modifications made to it. One of the first modifications is going to be elevating the station. Currently, the station is at grade, and the roads go under it and dip underground. But what will be changed when this opens is the station will be elevated, and the roads will continue at grade. This gives you a few benefits, as it means that it's easier to grade separate other roads that cross it. An additional modification that will be made is the Caltrain another modification that will be made is the Caltrain maintenance facility. This will be expanded and will be adjusted slightly. We continue up the peninsula, and only minor modifications will be made here. Most of what happens from here on north is not going to be significant, with the exception of some modifications in places like Millbrae, where they will add a second set of platforms closer to the downtown area. This area is currently under legal litigation, as the city of Millbrae has different plans for the area than the High-Speed Rail Authority does, so we have yet to see what changes as a result of that. And then we move further north. As we get up to here, we see the last big construction area on the high-speed rail alignment. This is the Brisbane Light Maintenance Facility. This is where all high-speed rail trains that depart San Francisco in the morning will start out at, as well as where they are stored at night. Now, this is critical, as you want these layover facilities as close to the termination points as possible to reduce the amount of time drivers need to spend driving north without passengers. There will be a flyover on either side, and this is where the Bayshore Caltrain station is located. The right-of-way continues north until it reaches the Caltrain 4th and King station. Now, one of the things that has not happened yet with the Caltrain electrification is upgrading the track alignment to be capable of 110 miles an hour. The new EMUs that Caltrain has purchased are capable of running at 110 miles an hour, but the track is not, as the project was mainly designed to electrify the line in preparation for high-speed rail and to improve services. Now, when high-speed rail comes through, much of these tracks are going to be adjusted to be able to support 110 mile an hour travel, in addition to grade separating. There are still quite a few grade separations that need to be built on the Caltrain corridor. Now, it's unfortunate that these grade separations could not have been done before electrification occurred, because that makes it more expensive to grade separate later, but I'm glad that they're even considering them at all. Now, the final section north is going to be the downtown extension. Now, the downtown extension is not a high-speed rail authority project. This is being run by the Trans-Bay Joint Power Authority. As you can see here, they added the new Trans-Bay terminal, which has been in place for about a decade now. You can see in light blue the future high-speed rail / Caltrain alignment, which is what we're talking about today. So this is the downtown extension. Right here, number 8 in red, that's going to be the 4th and Townsend station. This is going to be a station only used by trains terminating at the Trans-Bay Transit Center. Now, the Trans-Bay Transit Center is critical because it serves a much better location of downtown. Now, huge redevelopment has taken place in the area surrounding the Trans-Bay Transit Center, including the new Salesforce Tower, which is the tallest tower west of the Mississippi, and this will connect to a significantly larger number of jobs with direct walking access. As you can see, 4th and King Station is fairly far away from where the Trans-Bay Transit Center is. And there's also no good connections to get there. Currently, to get from 4th and King Station to this area down here, you would have to leave the Caltrain station, get on the Muni T line, transfer at Union Square/Market Street, get on the Market Street subway, and then get off at Montgomery Street Station, which is further down this way. All of that to get to this area. Instead, with the DTX, you just take the train and you continue on into the downtown extension. There's another project that this leads into that I'm not going to discuss yet because it's slightly different and doesn't quite involve high-speed rail, at least not initially. Now, with that out of the way, we can talk about how this helps. Now, currently, I know a lot of people that are commuting from the Fresno, Madera, and Merced area to the Bay Area for work. These are called super commuters. Now, the cost of living is so expensive currently in the Bay Area because of the refusal of those cities to build new housing that people are commuting from the Fresno, Merced, and Madera area to San Jose and are being paid by the companies that have jobs there to live in a hotel during the week and then drive back down. Currently, it's about a 2.5-hour drive from Fresno to San Jose, without traffic, of course. And that's already an immediate market that would be served. Right now, a bus like that takes about 4 hours, which is not acceptable. But with high-speed rail, you have that direct connection now. That also cuts a significant amount of time off of any journey from LA to San Francisco. Currently, the travel time estimate for the High-Speed Rail Authority from San Francisco to San Jose is 30 minutes, and then from San Jose to Merced is about an hour. That's going to bring some significant shifts. Now, you're thinking, well, what if we connected LA immediately? And that's interesting because yes, that would improve ridership dramatically as there is no rail connection over the mountains here, but that doesn't get you to the Bay Area very quickly. The other thing that affected their idea of doing that was the cost. Here's the total cost for getting into the LA area. The lowest estimate from Bakersfield to Palmdale is $13.7 billion. From Palmdale to Burbank is $12.6 billion. And then from Burbank to downtown Los Angeles is $2.2 billion. Those are the low estimates. On the high estimates, you're looking at $20.7, $24.4, and $3.4 billion respectively. I'm not going to really count LA to Anaheim into this cost because that's not directly relevant to this, even though that would add a large amount of ridership. Now we're looking at between $31 and $52 billion. We move up to here, and that's significantly higher than the Bay Area. And while it would add ridership, it would add a significantly higher cost to get that ridership. So they've chosen to go to the Bay Area first, which I approve of. I think it's a little bit smarter. Now we can move on to the Bakersfield to Palmdale section of the alignment. Now there is no good map of this section, so I'm going to have to utilize Open Railway Map again. But what that does give me is a little bit of a better view here. So right here is where the future Bakersfield F Street station will be. So from here, the tracks will continue south and then become elevated over Sumner Street, which becomes Edison Highway later on, and they continue to be elevated until they reach Weed Patch Highway, or State Route 184. At this point, they curve south, cross over State Route 58, continue on the south side through farmland, and then cross over State Route 58 again. It then continues up into the mountains here, where it cuts through the hills, just like it did near Los Baños, where it goes through a short tunnel here. There's another short tunnel here near Caliente Bodfish Road, another tunnel here, and now it's following the Tehachapi line. Short tunnel through this mountain, and there's a reason why it's going north instead of towards the railroad, and that's for the simple reason of the Cesar Chavez National Monument here fought against the project going close to it because they thought that it would disturb the peacefulness of the monument. They also used that excuse to disallow double tracking on this section of the right-of-way for the UP and BNSF trackage, which has created a significant bottleneck here. That is one of the reasons why this project even needed to exist in the first place. So now that it's no longer an issue, we can actually build it. They continue here through another tunnel and then follow State Route 58 here until they go into another tunnel here. This continues up to here where it becomes at grade and then slightly elevated. This bypasses Tehachapi now. Eventually, the city of Tehachapi has stated interest for a high-speed rail station there. And with a high-speed rail station there, I personally think that you could have ski resorts with high-speed rail access, which would be a really interesting concept that I believe only China has implemented at the moment. This continues further south until it crosses Tehachapi Willow Springs Road and goes into another tunnel underneath a giant wind farm where it surfaces on a bridge and then goes into another tunnel. It then curves south slightly and then to the east. This then curves in some very shallow curves, which I've calculated to have a maximum speed attainable on them of roughly 400 miles an hour, assuming that a train existed that could go that fast right now, after which it curves and then follows the right-of-way here. It crosses through Lancaster and then makes a stop at Palmdale. So here in Palmdale, there's going to be a giant transfer station. Right here is going to be this project called the High Desert Corridor, and that will connect between Palmdale and Victorville, where Brightline West is. And the other thing that needs to be noted is Brightline West and High Speed Rail Authority have agreed to share the exact same technology between them and the exact same standards. So any train that could run on the High Speed Rail Authority's trackage can also run on Brightline West trackage and vice versa. What this also means is that with the High Desert Corridor, where previously Brightline West trains ended in Rancho Cucamonga, now they can take the High-Speed Rail Authority's trackage directly into downtown LA Union Station. This is a huge change and will significantly reduce the initial cost of high-speed rail, because previously the only way to connect to Rancho Cucamonga was through Phase 2. Now that we've reached Palmdale, I can switch back to High-Speed Rail Authority maps. This right here is the official authority map for Southern California. It doesn't quite reach to where the station's going to be, which is around here, but it does reach to this location. Now, the alignment's going to cross over and then over again the former Southern Pacific Railroad right-of-way, which is now owned by Metrolink. It's going to have a cut through the hill here, and then it will enter a tunnel right here immediately before it enters into the California Aqueduct. At this point, it will continue in a tunnel all the way until Agua Dulce Canyon, where it will be at grade for a bit and switch between at grade and bridges before it goes into another short tunnel and then back to at grade. It continues again here, crossing another until it crosses Soledad Canyon on a viaduct, going to at grade and then trenched before entering into the next tunnel. This tunnel is going to be the longest, and it will continue further south all the way until it reaches the Metrolink Antelope Valley line again. Right here, it's going to be done cut and cover. This is currently part suburb, part industrial park. Keep in mind, all of this purple trackage here is going to be bored, so there are no surface impacts. It will then continue at grade through this industrial area, and then it will follow along the Metrolink right-of-way, going on to bridges, and it will be above grade for the most part. Short bridges will be built over the roads to grade separate them, and then right after it crosses Interstate 5, it goes into a trench, then cut and cover, and then it goes back to being bored again. It then crosses underneath the Metrolink right-of-way and becomes cut and cover until it reaches the Burbank Airport Station. Now we can move on to the alignment from Burbank Airport Station south. So you can see here, it's going to be the same station design as all other stations, 2 through tracks and 1 platform on either side with side platforms. It continues on a tunnel alignment until it gets past Pacific Avenue, which will become at grade. Some modifications will be made to Victory Place / Victory Boulevard, as well as Burbank Boulevard, and then it will continue along the existing Metrolink right-of-way. Further grade separations will be made here, here, and here, where all of these orange boxes are shown. It will then follow the alignment through here, cross the river on the current bridge, and then it merges with the existing tracks and enters into LA Union Station over platforms that currently are being used for LA Metro. At this point, they will have arrived at Union Station, and Link Union Station, which is a new project to build 3 tracks at Union Station, will be ready, and the project will be able to run straight through and back onto the tracks. I will open up. Now, as you can see right here on the right, currently the tracks end right before the 101, but once this is built, the tracks will go on a giant curved bridge. It should be easier to see right here. It will continue on a curved bridge here, and then make a right-hand turn on a viaduct until it reaches the tracks again. Here's going to be the final configuration, and they're going to be modifying the station, as currently there are center tracks at each of the platforms that are unused. There are going to be 4 run-through tracks that merge into 2 on the other side of 101, as well as 6 tracks merging into 2 as well on the other side of 101. At that point, there will be 4 tracks for passenger rail and 1 freight track. What this results in is a significant decrease in travel time and a significant increase in capacity at LA Union Station. This is big news because it nearly doubles, or even in some cases more than doubles, the amount of trains that can go through Union Station on a daily basis, which is especially important with our future plans. Now, let's get on to LA to Anaheim. You can see right here, it's on a viaduct until it reaches First Street, which will then result in it being at grade. It continues south along the river until it gets onto the bridge, which they will widen. They will continue south, go on a short viaduct through the City of Commerce, become at grade again until it reaches Norwalk Santa Fe Springs. They will be modifying the station and changing the curve radius because what currently exists on the eastern side is a parking lot, which means that there's plenty of room for them to redevelop there. After that, they will continue south, going into a tunneled section here, and then making a right turn after the city of Fullerton. Finally, they will end up at the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, or ARTIC, where high-speed rail Phase 1 will terminate in the south. Here at Anaheim, you will have connections to Amtrak and Metrolink, with Amtrak service to San Diego, and Metrolink service to several areas beyond. Alright everyone, that wraps up everything that's coming next after the sections we are currently about to build. Hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to join our Discord server. We have a lot of good discussions, we do a lot of research, and all of the information that you see in this video will be available there as well. So feel free to join. Make sure to leave comments down below for any suggestions, questions you have, or even if you like the video, just feel free to leave a like. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye everybody.